First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. As always, I know I said every time, but I do appreciate everybody who joins in here for our show. We are live streaming on our social media channels, on our app, and our website, and we get to have a lot of great conversations here, and I am really excited about the one we're going to be having here in just a second. So as you can see right there, Shelter in Solitude, the movie is premiering. It is actually out in theaters. You can watch it, and we're going to be discussing the movie, and the star actor and writer is going to be joining us here, Siobhan Fallon Hogan. You probably have, well, I know you have seen her in many, many things, and I'm talking about like iconic things like Men in Black, Forrest Gump, SNL, Seinfeld, all other kinds of things. An amazing, amazing career. Continuing on right now, we have Siobhan here joining us. Siobhan, really, really appreciate you being here on the show. Thanks for joining us today.
Greg, thanks for having me. I really appreciate the support, and I really appreciate you getting behind Shelter in Solitude.
Yes. We are very excited to be talking about that and your movie coming up. But before we get into that, I have to bring it up. Just your career. I mean, you take a look at your IMDb page. You have been a part of so many iconic things throughout your career. What, for you, what are some of the biggest standouts that you have?
Well, it's funny. I have different ones that I have great places in my heart for. Number one, because I'm proud of them, or because my kids came. But of course, the Men in Black and Forrest Gump, SNL, of course, opened so many doors for me. It's a crazy thing. I just did Seth Meyers last night and went on the SNL set, and I was like, live from New York. And anyway, so so many gave me so many opportunities, or that I met friends on, like Forrest Gump. Mary Ellen Zemeckis, the director's wife, became my best friend. But then like Charlotte's Web or Holes, I bring my kids, or I did like 3 movies with Lars von Trier, and my kids went to school over there. So there's different reasons that I just have such a place for so many. And of course, Rushed was my first movie that I wrote, so I have a great place for that in my heart. And I'm just really grateful.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just amazing. What do you think you get recognized for the most when you're out and about?
It kind of depends on like what the person's like. Like a lot of people love Seinfeld. So they'll be like, oh, you're Elaine's roommate. I'm like, yeah. Or like The Negotiator, if they're like into thrillers and like huge Samuel L. Jackson fans. Kids, I've weirdly done like a lot of kids movies like Daddy Daycare, Charlotte's Web, Fred, the TV show. So like I just did Clifford the Big Red Dog. But I would say, and then of course, if if people are like really fancy, if they're into foreign films, like, weren't you in Lars von Trier's films? And I was like, oh, I better step it up a notch and make sure my grammar's all in line when I talk to them. But I would say Men in Black is a really big one. Of course, I know I need to put a little more makeup on when people are like, aren't you the farmer's wife in Men in Black? And I'm like, I knew I should have worn makeup. And so, it so depends. But I think Men in Black, Seinfeld, Fred, the TV show, and a lot of Lars von Trier movies.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a wide range of stuff. I will say behind the scenes, myself and a few coworkers here were quoting Edgar Suit earlier,
Yes.
knowing that you were going to be on. I mean, I would imagine you probably get that one a lot. I would assume.
I do. And the thing is so many times I would go into auditions and I would be like, for Men in Black, I was supposed to be giving birth to an alien. I get in there, I'm like, to Barry Sonnenfeld, I'm like, look, here's the thing, I'm not giving birth to an alien. He's like, what? I go, yeah, I need to be the farmer's wife because I'm from farm area and I get that. He's like, they're like, okay, pushy. And then, I'd kind of like worm my way in.
Really? So you went in there and told them, no, that's not the one that we're going to be doing here today. We're going to be doing this.
I'd read scripts and I was like, oh, listen, by the way, I don't want to do that part. I want to do this part. And I think they're so shocked. I always tell young actors that. I'm like, listen, it's your one chance. Like, just go for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's bold, though. I mean, that's a bold move.
Greg, it's the same with writing movies. Like, I swear, and like my movie Shelter in Solitude, we're a family-run, produced, distributed, and oh my gosh, my alarm's going off, which means I'm supposed to be on with you. So, okay. So, we're family-run, family-produced. And when I wrote to like a friend, I was like, hey, do you know anybody at AMC? And I think they're like, yeah, nice, good shot with your little movie. And when we heard from AMC and Regal that we were going to be picked up all over the country, I was like, huh. It's like I did it myself, said the little red hen. It's like, don't let people tell you no, because you can do whatever you want.
That's amazing. I mean, part of that too. You mentioned all those different things and different doors that it opened up, but then somebody that you get to know or you get to meet, and I'm sure a lot of that is not just because of the role, but getting to talk to people behind the scenes and getting to actually know people one on one.
100%. And look, every business that you're in, you always treat people kindly, and it's like it's going to come back. Like you don't think you're somebody because you're like a big role in one movie, and then when you're down, and when you're up, you're up. But I always loved the cast and the crews, and for example, in my movie Rushed, a lot of the crew and like our director Vivica Messiah came back, our cinematographer Matthias Schubert, our editor Sabina Miliani, and I treat people the way I want to be treated, or better, and I think that says a lot. And then when I've worked with a lot of people more than once, and I believe in the European way too, where I don't believe in this hierarchy where it's time for lunch, so the star gets to go first. I'm like, hey, listen, the prop guy got there ahead of me. He eats first because we're all cogs in the wheel, and it's like we're all working for the same common project. So more like a play that rather than a movie. You know what I mean?
Right, right. And each part is just as important to make sure that finished product comes
Exactly.
out. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I had two production assistants on Rushed, and they went to college, and they didn't like college, so they wanted to be actors. I was like, well, come over to my house. I'll tell you what to do. I'll tell you what school to go to, but work on films, like get dirty, get down, and like be production assistants. Well, that was on Rushed, which by the way is out on Amazon. People can watch it, and pluggity plug. And so Shelter and Solitude comes along. They come on as production assistants again. Our assistant director had to leave for a bigger job, and I promoted those two guys to assistant director. Two guys in the job of one, but I'm like, I believe in giving people shots. Same with my composer, Kyle Ward. Give the guy a shot. You know what I mean? My son, Peter, he's a producer. He on the movie, he's also the music supervisor, but he worked his tail off. He's into music. And I was like, hey, Pete, we got this movie. It's supposed to be a washed up country singer. What do you got? And he introduced me to Justin Biltonen, who of Three Doors Down, that country music fans know, Todd Cameron, and I'm singing his music in my movie. Like never say never, you know what I mean?
Wow. Just how that one to the other, to the other, to the other, and then just all connects down to make this. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the movie. So, you're a writer here, and I think for everybody, can we get the brief synopsis of it, of what the movie's about? And I've also got the trailer here too that we can play underneath, and
Sure.
just to let everybody know, where this came from.
Yes. So this is a story of a prisoner on death row with 10 days left to live. And has a guard who's very unconventional. She's a washed up wannabe country singer. She sang in Nashville once. She had her one day in the light, in the fame. And then she opened a bar because she flopped. And she's the singer in a tiny little small town. And everybody's her audience. Everybody's her best friend. Well, COVID hits and she's got nothing to do. And she can't be by herself because if she does, she's going to drink too much and her life's going to be a disaster. So there's an opening at the prison, and I won't tell the rest, but she has this relationship with this prisoner. Robert Patrick from The Terminator plays the warden. Peter Macon plays the prisoner. Dan Castellaneta, who's the voice of Homer Simpson, plays a guard. My son Peter plays a young cop. He's kind of a comic relief. My daughter Sinead, who's a production designer, she has a role. All kinds of great actors in it. And it's really a story about kindness, forgiveness, redemption, and charity. And I think the reason why it's really resonating across the United States, and we open tonight everywhere, is because there's no prejudice, there's no politics. People don't hate each other for color or race or religion or politics. It's about getting down to the core of what's important and doing the kind little acts and caring about one another. And these aren't fancy people, especially my character. She's the type that would be judged, and people like, she's kind of a loser, she's kind of older, she never really did well in her career, she dresses too young, she's a cougar wannabe, no one will have her. But at the core of it, she's a very good person, and she's wacky. Like she'll sing to make the prisoner happy. She'll bring him food. She'll do whatever. And at the heart of Robert Patrick, who plays the warden's character, comes off tough and mean, but at the heart, he's a good man. And it all comes out. And then the prisoner, it's not a great white hope story. Prisoner's an African-American. Peter Macon gives an Oscar performance, and he is really the hero. He's the class act. He kind of teaches them class. And it's just a beautiful story about redemption. And I think it's what America needs right now.
I mean, you're right. Not having all of those other things in there, not being about religion or those other issues that you brought up. Like that's not the thing that's dividing people. Looking at this story, I mean, which you just laid it all out. It sounds amazing. Where did that come from? Was there anything based on your life, or is it just something you've been thinking about?
Okay. My dad was the greatest guy. He was like a big Irishman. He looked like Tip O'Neill, funny, but he was a lawyer. And I'm from a big family, and we'd sit around every night. And sometimes my father would tell stories about the prisoners that he represented. And we lived in a little small town in upstate New York. And every Sunday we'd go see our cousins. And in order to get there, we had to pass the penitentiary. And I'd be like, what is going on in there? And like, what is the deal with the prison guards and the prisoners? Do they become friends? Or
Right.
what is the relationship? So I was actually a little afraid when I was a kid, but I was also really fascinated. So that was always kind of in my core. And then my dad wanted me to be a country singer. He's like, you ought to be a country singer, Siobhan. I mean, you're a good actress. Why don't you be a country singer? So one night after Rushed was just about to come out, we had just finished the edit. It's 2021. COVID has started. And I'm like, in the middle of the night, I got this idea. What if there's a guy on death row and he has this kind of odd woman guarding him who wants to be a country singer and she's a cougar wannabe, no one will have her. What would that be like? And then I was like, I got to get Robert Patrick in there because he played my husband in Rushed. We've worked together many times. He's perfect to play the warden. And I scribbled down the idea. Next day I wake up, there it is. And I wrote it in 3 weeks. And we filmed it in 16 days.
Whoa. Wrote it in 3 weeks,
Crazy.
filmed it in 16 days. So
Yeah, and then we distributed ourselves. My husband's the producer, so I'd be like filming it. Our director Vivica Messiah, like maybe doing a sad scene or a funny scene. And they'd be like, "Cut," and I'd be on my phone like, "Pete, do we have porta potties clean? Pete, do we have food for the crew? And make sure the dessert's coming in from Dave's Diner because that chocolate cake's really good." She'd be like, "Siobhan Fallon Hogan, get off your phone, get into the role of Valerie, and stop producing." I was like, "I can't stop producing. I'm a producer." So it was insane. And then we have rappers in it. Fat Nick, for those who love rap, and Rob Banks. They play 2 roles in it, and they're fantastic because we met Fat Nick. My son got him for Rush, and he played the rap music in that movie. So here we have Justin Biltone and Three Doors Down, Todd Cameron, Kyle Ward, this guy Dave Stefanik, and then Fat Nick and Rob Banks. So we go out to Nashville last week, right? And we're at the premiere, which goes standing ovation. It's insane. I'm like verklempt. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can even stand up because it's like delivering a baby, and you're like, oh, it worked. And then we have the party, right? The party is on the rooftop of the Underground in Nashville. And Justin Biltone and I are singing a song. And I'm like, I think I've arrived. It's a real message for women to my age. Like, my director's over 60. I'm OS over 60. My Sabine is in her 50s. And here we have this women kind of steered, except for our cinematographer who's fabulous, Matthias Schubert, and he won the Boston Film Festival for cinematography. And, it's like never say never. You know what I mean? I mean, when I was on SNL, when I was on Seth Meyers last night, they're like, Siobhan, you want to go over to 8H and go on the stage? I'm like, oh my gosh, I have PTSD. I was here for this. And I was like, I raised my 3 kids, and now it's time to like really create work. This is my goal that sends a great message. And that's what I tried to do with Rushed. And that's what I tried to do with this. And I know that when people leave the theater, because I've watched it now, we did it in LA, premiered, like I said, Nashville, Boston, upstate New York, people leave and they're like, I have to see that movie again. Like, when's the last time you went to a movie that you want to go back the second time?
Right.
Because there's so much symbolism, so much kindness, and it's getting down to the basics of people. It's like, this is what kindness is about. It's not about all that other junk. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. And people are like, I can't believe it. I was laughing my head off and I was sobbing. I was like, look, I'm from a funny family. We value funny, but bad things happen to funny people. And when it does, how do they react? And they use their humor to get through, and they use their guts. And, that's what I know. So that's what I wrote.
Wow. Incredible. I mean, and it just, I think, everything that you've done here, from we're talking about Men in Black and telling them you're not going to do that role, I'm going to do this role, up to this, and you're putting this all together and making this all happen.
And like, now, Greg, the deal is people need to get out there this weekend and support us so we can do another one, because we don't have big studios behind us, which is what the whole strike was about, right? So, because it gets mixed up. That's why movies were great in the old days. And there are still a lot of great movies, but when you get too many cooks, like, it just gets muddied. Like, people like saying, actually, I want that. And I'm like, no, it's only me deciding. That's it. So now what do I do? Social media. So who do I contact today? My old buddies, Chris Rock, Adam Sandler, David Spade, J.J. Abrams. I'm like, guys, Colin Quinn, help me out. You guys are popular. I'm like the nerdy girl at the table in 8th grade. Tweet or Insta or do whatever you have to do, but get the word out. So on Twitter, we're at Shelter Solitude, but on Instagram, we're Shelter in Solitude. And then people can follow me on Siobhan Fallon Hogan. And I'm telling you, if you guys get out there and support us, America and Oregon, and I'm telling you right now, I have another one that I'm almost finished with after I take a little break, maybe a couple days off.
Well, I think that's deserved, a well-deserved break. But at the same time, I mean, this is out there right now, so people can go get tickets. They can go see it tonight here in
Regal
Portland.
and AMC, or the tickets are on sale tomorrow night. It's all over the country.
I mean, I can imagine you're not going to sleep much tonight, I would think.
Oh, and last night I was like, I can't be on late night TV. I'm exhausted.
Well,
even my dog, by the way, is in the movie. Little tidbit. When you see the town says Trudyville, my dog's name is Trudy.
So the whole family's in the act.
The whole family. And my daughter, Bernadette Hogan, she's a big newscaster in New York. And even
nice.
I was like, Bernadette, I got some radio and some news announcements. How do I make this authentic? She's like, Mom, give me the copy. So every single person and everyone in my town, all the extras in the bar scene are the class of 79 from my high school. I was like, hey guys.
Wait, no.
Seriously? Home. Who wants to be? Yeah, it's like a 3-day reunion.
You had your classmates in
my
the
whole
show.
Class, and all the houses you see are people that I was like, hi. They're like, what can I do to help? I was like, I like your house. Or like I would leave like notes on people's cars. I was like, love this truck. Want to be in a movie? Or people like brought food like at night for the crew. Everybody was so supportive, and it was I made it fun for everybody. Because what's it all about? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, and that translates through from what the idea of the movie to just that, to taking care of everybody and having everybody there all being a part of it. I mean, that's amazing.
And Greg, I want to say, people can go on the AMC and the Regal YouTube channels, and you can watch the trailer Shelter in Solitude. And I promise, if you watch the trailer, you'll want to come to the movie.
I mean, I'm sold. But for everybody out there, go watch the trailer, go support this, and if you're interested in this is amazing. So Siobhan, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for your support, Greg. I really, really appreciate it. And God bless everybody out there in Oregon.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Siobhan, thank you very much.
All right.
Bye. And for everybody watching, thank you for joining us here for Fox 12 Now. As always, appreciate you all being here. Shelter in Solitude, out in theaters. You can pick up tickets. Huge thank you to Siobhan Fallon Hogan for joining us here today. I'm going to sign off for right now. I'll be back soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.